Hello, I want to talk to you today about how to run a conference. I run the International Creative Research Methods Conference every September, and I've run a bunch of events before. I've learned a lot from this, so I'd like to pass these points on for any of you who may be doing this for the first time. There are three key points to consider: organisation, help, and timing. In terms of organisation, it's straightforward. You simply have to be very well organised. Running conferences involves a lot of bitty, detailed work, and it's really important to keep track of everything. In terms of help, you will need some. You need to get help. Some people like to form an organising group for a conference. If you work in an organisation, that's probably quite sensible because you'll have colleagues who are likely to be willing to be involved. But do remember that groups themselves take a bit of managing and nurturing. And if you're working across a lot of different institutions, you may find that this is more trouble than it's really worth. So there is another option, which is to ask people individually for specific bits of help. You might ask one person or two to perhaps give you feedback on a draft call for proposals. You might ask a couple of other people to help you decide which proposals will be successful, ask someone else again to help you program the conference, and so on. In terms of timing, you really need to start planning 15 to 18 months ahead of the date when you want to hold the conference. You need to find your venue and your keynote speakers at least a year ahead. And this is because good venues get booked up, so do good keynote speakers. Good keynote speakers often have really busy calendars, so you need to give them plenty of advance warning. Then, around a year ahead, put out your call for submissions. And in that call and in any communications around the conference, make your expectations clear. So, for example, if you want people making submissions to send in a maximum of 500-word description of what they're doing, make that very clear in your call. It's a good idea that it'll save you work when you come to assess the submissions. There is software that can do all of this kind of thing for you, but it's very complex. It tends to be created for very big, complex conferences. It might be worth checking it out, but I found it wasn't really worth the trouble. You do need some way that people can book through the internet. That might be as simple as Eventbrite or something more complex. Another point about timing is that you need to allow plenty of time to actually program the conference. Once the successful submissions have been chosen, programming isn't straightforward. You need a coherent conference with themed sessions, so that can take a bit of head scratching and time. You need to build in time for contingencies, both in the run-up to the event itself, but also for any of your soft deadlines, like the deadline for putting out the call for submissions, the deadline for assessing the submissions, the deadline for starting to sell tickets, and so on. Build in time for contingencies ahead of each of these soft deadlines, and that will help if there are any contingencies. Then, when it comes to the event itself, figure out what your role will be at the event and what other roles are needed, and allocate those roles to people who are willing to help. Maybe in exchange for free tickets if you're in a position to offer that, or for other reasons. Sometimes chairing a panel can be helpful to put on someone's CV, particularly if they're quite a junior researcher. You might need people to man the reception desk, perhaps people to look after keynote speakers, this kind of thing. When the event arrives, enjoy it as best you can. And then, as soon as possible after the event, go on holiday because you're really going to need it. Best of luck.